everyone, this is Elena of the Witches Box, and I'm here today coming to you from what actually now is the new Witches Box headquarters office. It is a mess. There are piles of books everywhere and boxes, furniture that needs to be built, this pile because I needed to get things out of the way, but this is where we're going to start working from now on. So here we are. You're going to see it in phases. Today, we are going to be talking about another Anousen Leonte book called Evoking Kali through Chaos Magic. There's a cover. This is the second book of his that I am sharing with you where he actually discusses evoking a specific deity. This one was interesting for me because I actually have a very deep and intimate relationship with Kali, but through a different lens than witchcraft and through a different tradition. And so it was interesting for me to read the chaos magic perspective on how to approach her, how to evoke her, different ways to work with her, which I think are sound. I think it's interesting because there's a lot of conversation, rightly so, about appropriation and stepping into lineages that we might not necessarily belong to or understand, where we lack cultural context. This book doesn't actually address those things. It is simply about working with Kali, and he does share a couple of traditional mantras and ways to work with her that are Hindu specific. But the rest of it is very much through the lens of chaos magic, through using sigil work, through the evocation practices that he actually, I think, discussed in the first book that we read about invoking Hecate. He does make some parallels between Hecate and Kali. I don't know that those exist the way he says that they do. It has not been my experience, but then again, I haven't worked extensively with Hecate the way I have with Kali. So there is that, right? Either way, I absolutely recommend the book. I think that what I want to say about Kali is there's a lot of misconception running around in the Western world around working with wrathful deities. And I often hear things like, be careful what you do when you work with Kali, be careful what you ask for, she'll kick your ass. And that may be true in some instances, but my understanding and my relationship with Kali is very much that of an intimate mother-daughter relationship. She has your back in a way that is really beautiful. And I also know of her that there's no wrong way to approach her, that if you wanted to have a relationship with Kali, a candle and a very simple and sincere request for teach me your ways, she will deliver. She will deliver. So I say that just as my personal relationship with her. But the other thing that I think was different in this book than is of my relationship with her is that there's an orientation in this book, and I don't remember actually perceiving that orientation in the Hecate book. But in this book, I got the impression he was giving you information on how to use the goddess energy for your means to do certain things. I'm not clear that that's actually how this really works. Do you know what I mean? I don't know that deities are necessarily there just to do our bidding or as tools for us to get what we want. There is an actual relationship that takes place there. There is an intimacy that takes place there. There is a long process of revealing in terms of you having parts of yourself revealed to you for your higher transformation. I mean, that is the juice of working with deities, where you can really enter into a spiritual alchemical relationship of transformation and of learning. Using a deity that is this powerful for your own personal means to gain what you want, I don't know that I would tread there, and I don't know that I would recommend that, at least not at the very beginning of your relationship, and certainly not from that orientation. So that's the only maybe issue that I had with this book, because on the whole, what I enjoyed about it was, again, having that overview of how you would use sigils to evoke, how you would evoke a deity, and why you would do that in terms of learning and expansion and transformation that's personal. The parts where he hints at using a deity for your own personal benefit, I don't know that I would recommend that. But again, it's up to you and your relationships with your deities and what it has been for you in your experience. That is probably the only thing that I would say about this book that gave me pause. But other than that, the information, again, is great. He's still building on information that he's shared before. He gives you insight, a little bit of insight into Kali, which I think is a fantastic deity to work with for many, 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 many reasons. He does share and ask that you do extensive research on her. There is so much information. I have what, I don't even know, 1, 2, 3, 4, like 10 different piles of books on the wall over here. And about 10 books are just on Kali alone. There's a lot of information on working with her. She's a potent, powerful, powerful, beautiful deity to work with that really gives you a much more expansive view of the universe that goes way beyond what the Western trendy ideas and notions of what Kali is. And I would recommend it if you want to do deep, deep transformative work. She can be your patron deity in a way that will just revolutionize your life. Absolutely. And the kicking your ass aspect that you hear, like Kali will kick your ass, it's not necessarily in a wrathful way, but it's in a loving mother way. A mother who doesn't coddle you, a mother who does not enable your bullshit, but a mother who will say, you want to grow, this is what needs to leave your life in order for you to grow. This is what you need to look at in order for you to grow. So there are those aspects of her that can feel a little harsh, because sometimes we just don't really want to grow the way we think we want to grow. So anyway, that is all just my personal experience with Kali, my personal opinion on that. The book is like a 3.5 for that reason. It's good. I think that learning how to evoke deities is important. He continues to build on that from the first book that we read, which was the Hecate, Evoking Hecate book. And I never say that right because I want to say it in Spanish, Evoking Hecate. It builds on how to do that. It gives you the ritual structure on how to do that. So I think it's great for that because these are tools that you can actually use for all deities. It's not just necessarily just for Kali, although there are sections in here that are specifically about her, specifically about how to evoke her. So there's that information as well, which I think is also very sound. I recommend it. Know that I would warn all of us before we enter into a relationship that is opportunistic with deities, right? It's not that they're a tool for you to use and wield necessarily, but they're definitely a relationship that's available for learning and transformation. So that's probably that is the caveat that I would have with this book. There it is, Evoking Kali Through Chaos Magic by Anousen Leonte. Again, I'll have the links down below for where you can get these. $2.99, I think it is. They're all digital, those of you who've been watching these already who know about this writer, all of these books are only available on digital, most of them through Amazon. But we will continue this next week, and I actually have a couple of other books that are not Anousen Leonte books that I'm going to sprinkle in here and there because I've been doing a lot of reading in the last few days, and I've kind of accumulated a lot of like videos in the can for all these books. So there's that. The last thing I'm going to say is that, as most of you know, and if you don't know, this is news, we have now launched our Witches Book subscription service, which the registration has already opened. The link to that will be below. The first 2 books that go out will go out October 1st. So we have a nice long entry registration period before the first books go out. And the reasons for that were that we launched a bunch of things with the Witches Box, and I wanted to give you all some time to budget and manage paying for different things, which I know because when I want to take classes, I love that opportunity to do that. In any case, the link to the registration is below. I've already picked the 2 books. The list of the 2 books that we're going to be covering for the first month will be listed on the actual page this week. And it's $30 a month for 2 books, access to a private forum where we have like basically a book club where we can communicate with other people and become friends over books and talk about different parts of the book. And then at the end of each of those months, we're going to have a live online gathering where it's basically like a live online witchy book club where some months we'll have the authors join us to have Q&A. Sometimes we won't, but we will always be talking about the magic of the books and what we've learned from the books, which I am so excited about. I can't even tell you. So the link is below. Don't miss out on this. This is going to be an amazing opportunity for all of us to really get deeper into all of these books, and I can't wait. That's it for today. I will talk to you soon. Have a wonderful week. Bye.